All right, guys, let's talk about today's live stream. We're going to bust some SAT math myths today, okay? So, if you guys, if your teen is, falling for common SAT math myths, and they might be, suffering for some limiting beliefs. And hey, guys, it's time to keep the record straight with that, okay? A lot of these things that you hear on the internet, they're just simply not true when it comes to SAT math, okay? So right now, let's talk about what exactly is holding your back, what's holding your teen back, the myths that might be, preventing them from reaching their full potential. Okay, so let's talk about the first one. Myth number one, guys, is that more practice equals better scores. So we actually did another separate live stream on this very topic right here. Okay, just because it's all about quality, not quantity. Okay, so endless practice without strategy is like you're just going to be running in circles. Okay, you want to focus on targeted effective practice to turn weaknesses into your strength. It's not enough to be like, hey, I'm going to be doing SAT math problems just for the sake of doing SAT math problems, because what that's going to do is, hey, you're going to have a false sense of security because you're going to be practicing all these problems that you already probably know how to do. And what happens is that, hey, you're not focusing on your weaknesses. So this does a couple things. First things first is, hey, you're not using your time very effectively, because if you're only working on things that you already know how to do, then you're not going to be spending time on things that you're weak at. That's the most important part. You got to practice on exactly where you're the weakest. So it's not about just doing problems and doing diagnostics for the sake of doing diagnostics. What you really need to be working on is, hey, what do I need to work on this session or this block so that I can get the most bang for my buck? Okay, so you got to make sure that everything you do is extremely targeted. Okay, so that's myth number one: more practice equals better scores. Okay, and for that matter, more diagnostics does not mean better scores. Okay, I also did a training on this earlier in the group as well. Okay, you want to make sure that you're actually practicing the things that you're the weakest on. That's myth number one. You want to make sure you're doing that. Myth number two is that only geniuses can score high on SAT math. Okay, that is a very, very limiting belief that a lot of parents that I talk to, and it makes me kind of sad. What they say is like, "Hey, Jared, my teen is not smart enough. My son or my daughter is not smart enough to get a good score on the SAT math exam." That is not true. Okay, if it was just intelligence, then everyone would be scoring at 800 already. Okay, because hey, it's not about how smart you are, it's about how is your strategy, how did you actually prepare for the exam. Okay, hey guys, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not a genius. Most of the students that I work with, they're not geniuses. They're not Albert Einsteins, but they prepared properly. They had the proper discipline. That's how they were able to get the score that you're looking for. Okay, so with the right approach, any team can excel. So again, that falls back into myth number one. You got to make sure that you are identifying your strengths and your weaknesses, and most importantly, you are identifying, or not identifying, but based on those identified weaknesses, you got to be able to tailor your practice to those things that you're working on. Okay, it's not enough just to be smart, guys. If it was just, like I said, if it was just about being smart, then everyone would be scoring a perfect score. So you want to make sure that, hey, make sure you have the right approach. Okay, you don't know how many times I get on calls with parents and they're like, we only want a 1200, we only want a 1300. Why are you shooting that low? Of course, yeah, we got to be realistic, but to think that you guys aren't capable of scoring a 14 or a 1500, that is a lot. That's a limiting belief, because if you don't think that they can get a 14 or 1500, then your teen is definitely not going to think that they can score a 14 or a 1500. Okay? Myth number three: it's too early to start my prep. Guys, you don't want to be one of those parents that gets on a call and is like, hey, we have 3 weeks until the next exam. That's not going to help anybody. Okay? So starting early provides you ample time to master concepts and build your confidence, and also work on your weaknesses. Okay? Because some of you guys, your team is scoring really, really low. And if you only have 1 month, 2 months to prepare, there's not going to be enough time for you to tackle every single one of those weaknesses. Guys, there's 36 concepts on every single SAT math exam. If you only have a couple of months, then you're going to be in a position where, hey, you're not going to have enough time to work on all 36 concepts if you're weak in all of them. Okay? So make sure you're not waiting to the last minute to get the support that you're looking for. Okay? Myth number four: my team doesn't have enough time to prep. That's the biggest myth in the book. Guys, I work with student athletes, I work with musicians, I work with, literally every single every single type of extracurricular, we work with those types of people. They're like, oh yeah, we don't have enough time. You make time. You make time. Even with the busy schedule, guys, effective time management and focused study sessions can lead to significant improvements. You don't need to be spending 3 to 4 hours studying on your problems, okay? You only need, I would rather you have one focused hour, studying things that you don't know rather than you just doing 3 to 4 hours of diddly daddling, okay? We don't want you guys to do that. We want you guys to, every single time you are doing your work, you're just focusing on what it is that you need to be working on. Okay, so you save yourself time and you have more time to do whatever the heck that you want to do. So that's why it's important that you diagnose your weaknesses so that you can just focus all your time on that, right? So you're not spending 3-4 hours a day on SAT prep, okay? Because you're going to burn yourself out, all right? Myth number 5 is studying alone is enough. A lot of students are like, hey, Jared, I want to just focus on doing this myself. I just want to do this, without any support from anybody, okay? Now, some students, yeah, you're going to get a lot of results, but you're going to get way less results than if you were to work with some people who, number one, have the same standards and the same goals as you are and the same weaknesses as you, right? Because the problem with studying by yourself all the time is that, and this is for anything, if you're doing anything by yourself, eventually you're going to hit a low point. And if you're hitting that low point, it's really, really hard to get out of that low point by yourself, okay? So that's why it's really important that you either have a coach that can help you or you have a group of people, a community that's around you so that when they notice that you're low, they can pick you back up. That's why all the greatest people in the world, they are in this winning environment, right? If you just look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? His partner, Franco Columbu, right? They worked out every single day with each other, right? And why is that? Is because Arnold realized and Franco Columbu realized that it's not enough just to do things on your own. Because again, you want to have people pushing you, you want to have people holding you accountable so that you stay on track for those goals. Yeah, you can do it by yourself, but why would you? It's going to be a lot more miserable. You would rather do it. Wouldn't you rather rather do something with people who motivated you, right? That's the most important part of it. That's actually that's the biggest myth out there, is that you can do it by yourself or you can do it without a group of people who have the same mindset as you. Okay? So, continuous feedback and a community of motivated peers is the number one way to boost enthusiasm and your results. Okay, guys, those are the top 5 myths that I've seen on my end that prevent students from increasing their SAT math scores on their own. Okay, so how does the Math Guru method help you excel? The first thing that we do here is that we start with a complete diagnostic to identify your team's strengths and their weaknesses, which ensures that they do efficient, focused learning. Okay, so we already busted myths number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everything like that, right? If you are able to diagnose your weaknesses, you can get a top score. I don't care who you are, I don't care where you start off from. Okay, second thing we do here is we apply and we practice. So using real SAT math problems and continuous feedback, we provide you laser targeted practice and feedback, making learning engaging and effective for you guys, okay? Because again, we don't want you focusing too much on problems that are too easy for you, right? Or stuff that you already know how to do, okay? Last thing we do here is we simulate success. So regular test simulations prepare your team both academically and mentally, which reduces their anxiety and helps build that confidence. So we bust myth number 4 right there, right? Or myth number 3 and number 4, right? And most importantly, guys, we make sure that your team is in a winning environment with like-minded individuals and with people who are holding them accountable and keeping them motivated, okay? That is the number one reason why, the number one myth that's broken right there, myth number 5. So guys, if you guys are looking for a little bit of additional support for your teen's SAT math journey, if you need some people to hold them accountable or help, bust those limiting beliefs that we just went over today, go ahead and DM me, or you can click the top here where you can click my banner on the top of this group, and then you can book a call in with me. We can learn a little bit more about your situation, and most importantly, we can give you the general frameworks that you need to help your teen increase their SAT math score. I want to thank you guys again for taking the time to watch this video. I will see you guys in the next live stream. Thanks a lot for your time, guys. Have a great rest of your day.